Larry, where have you seen the biggest growth from JT and Jack in this camp compared to where they were at this point last year?
I think there's a lot of growth. You know, you had an off-season of weight room, full season of weight room now for the first time. You know, he came early last year, but he didn't get the full season. Now he's got a full season, full winter, full winter, spring. And I think the strength gains has been tremendous. Same thing in Jack. He's gone from 255 to 265. And so those guys done a great job in the weight room. Coach Megan and staff did a great job with everybody, but for those guys, they did a great job with it.
Being the lone holdover on the defensive staff, how has that challenged you this offseason in ways that maybe you haven't had to experience?
You know, it's not about being a lone holdover. It's just the fact that I'm a coach. You know what I mean? And that's the most important thing. I was hired to coach football. You know what I mean? And that's the only way to do it. When the day comes that I can't coach, I won't coach. But right now, I'm hired to be a coach. And so that doesn't bother me. I know I have a job to do, you know, as a coach, to make my unit the best unit. And that's what motivates me every day, you know, trying to find a way to make those guys better.
The last time that happened,
Tyler became a captain. He wasn't expecting it.
Yeah.
What kind of leadership capabilities have you seen him have, and were you surprised?
We thought Tyler had great leadership skills before he got hurt. I mean, he was really emerging as a guy, the leader. And I think what turned the table when he got hurt and how hard he worked in the rehab to get back to where he was. If you saw him every morning, every day, grinding to get himself back. And that was impressive to a lot of kids. He really did. They set the bar for who he was as a young man. And I think that's why his teammate voted him as captain.
How much as a player, what can he provide?
He can play a lot. You know, we missed Tyler last year. You know, Tyler's really a strong guy at the point of attack. He plays hard. He's physical. You know, he cares. You know, and we missed that last year. We missed that leadership a little bit too, because he was a strong leader in the room. When you sit in the back of the room, you kind of have a tendency to be quiet because you're not playing. And now he's a voice, and I think that's what we need.
when they took over back in 2019, there was a similar situation where you really only hold over on defense. Do you see any similarities as far as like the energy in the building now that it's happened again, where it's 4 new guys and then you defensively?
Yeah, I think first of all, it's a great defensive staff. It's a really great staff, great guys, great people. I think it's a really fun staff to work with. Coach Noah's been the best, and secondary guys are great. So I think that's important. When you got a good unit, guys are really close together, get a chance to bond. I think that's what was happening in our defensive. And I think our players are feeding off that because we have bonding. We come from different background, but at the end of the day, we're football coaches. And we got to find a way to bring our players together. And that's been really fun.
And with JT, it's pretty impressive what he was able to do, given he was just getting here 2 weeks ago at this time last year.
Yeah.
Now that he's been through the entire program and through offseason and all that, where have you kind of seen him grow?
I see him growing a lot in a lot of areas. I see him grow a lot. I see him mature. I see the guy's got much stronger. He's more flexible. He can bend. He can run. And he's playing practice really well. And I think that's good. And he's a great teammate. That's the thing I admire more about him. He loves everybody. You know what I mean? That's the thing that kind of everybody gravitates to JT.
Guys
with personality.
Guys with that ceiling talent, whatever you want to call it, where do you see them make the biggest jump between year 1 and year 2 usually?
It's actually year 2. You'll make the biggest jump in year 2. And that's why if he continue to move forward, he'll have a chance to do something special down the road. But I think this season is where he's got to make the biggest jump because that sets him for the legs next year.
You had a lot of defensive tackles.
Really raved about the depth on your defense, which we knew about, but he was like, Mike Paul's supposed to be a 3. Doesn't like no 3 I've ever seen. How good do you feel about the depth? And are there the elite players, the guys who will have the impact of, I don't say Chase Young, but that kind of level?
Yeah, I think we do have the depth. But knock on wood, you can go from 1 to 2 pretty fast. You know what I mean? So there's a luxury right now until you get a guy hurt. You know what I mean? Just understand, I think elite is 2 different standards. Elite to me is a guy who's incredible work ethics. I want guys who got incredible work ethics. That's being elite. Now everything comes with that, technique and all those things. That's my job to give it to him. But if he has incredible work ethics, he's got a chance to be an elite player. And that's what I'm preaching in our room. We're not preaching you're going to be a first-round draft pick. We're preaching that you have to be an elite player. And elite players are incredible work ethics. And that's the bottom line in everything we do.
How many of those guys have that?
I think there's quite a few guys have the ability to do that. Some of the young players have the ability to do that. They just haven't hit the field yet. There's some guys that it's going to play in the fall you haven't seen yet. You haven't seen them practice and see what they can do. And I'm looking forward to seeing those guys play.
So you just talked about a guy who could make a jump in year 2 in JT, but a lot of potential was paid to Tyleek last year as a pass rusher. Where have you seen him take a step, maybe as a run stuffer? Because it seemed like that was where you guys not necessarily want him on the field last year, but he was a little better in the passing game.
Yeah, as a baby coming in, you have one skill, right? He had a skill to rush the passer. Now the other skill he's going to develop and the ability to stop the run. And that starts in the weight room with Coach Mick, getting stronger. And I think those are the progression he's making right now to get stronger so he can be a 2-down, 3-down player, play first and second down and play third down, rather than the third down guy.
Have you seen him take those proper steps?
I have. He's done a good job so far.
Larry, Zach was talking over here about how he just feels a little more loose. he said he's not paying attention as much to the media, what fans are saying. How does that translate for a guy like him? The upside, the skill level, the talent, the athletic ability is so rare, but it hasn't always translated to on-field like numbers, right?
Right.
Have you seen a difference in him?
No doubt about it. When you start worrying about the expectations of other people rather than your expectations as a player, that's where you get lost. I tell them all the time, like, every time somebody throws a brick, you're building a foundation to be better, right? And that's what he's doing. He's starting learning how to build a foundation with those same bricks. That people say he's got to be this, got to be that. But I think he's in a good place right now than he's been here before. He's in a really good spot. He's worked extremely hard to be where he understands what the big picture is all about. So now it's just matter to go out and do it.
Is that something that you only get with being in the program or talking to other guys that have been through it? I mean, how does a guy like that, who's always been a pretty under the radar, quiet type guy, how does he let the outside noise get to him that way?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of both. Some guys helped him understand what this is all about, being a homeboy, and the ability, this expectation is so high of what you got to do. And if you chase those expectations, sometimes it drives you a different direction. All the great players, Chase Young, that he first got here, you just look at the first year he had, second year he took off, and then about half the season went like this, right? Because the expectation got bigger, and he wasn't ready for it. So how to handle that is just continue to be yourself. Go on the field every day, live up to your expectation of our defensive scheme, and just play as hard as you can, and let it go. Yeah, that's important.
Larry, yesterday, as Bill said, Kevin said he just looks over the laps when he sees my call for threes sometimes. That doesn't make sense to him. Why is he still with the threes at this stage?
Well, he's not with the threes. That was just in jest, I think. You got to read what he was saying.
He has been.
In jest. He has been in three start out because of guys, but he's no longer in the threes. Mike's worked with the ones and twos, and he's got a chance to do something really special. He's had a great camp. He's had a great camp for him. Really, he's come out of. He's really gotten stronger. He's gotten bigger. He's fast. He's athletic, and we're hoping for great things from Mike.
We've seen what a nose like Davon or Tommy could be. I know he's maybe not necessarily the same kind of player, but can he have that impact and can he have it this year?
Yeah, I think his biggest asset, he can rush the passer. He's really got quick hands, quick body. He can move another three technique, and he can rush the net sometimes. So we got to plan how we're going to use him. But I think he has a little bit more. He's really quick off the line of scrimmage, scary in space. When he's in short space, small area, he can get off the ball. I think that's huge. A little bit of BB-like, but stronger. But also brings some pass rush technique that I think is clever.
Should we think of him more as a three than a
No, we're going to use a little bit of both. We're going to try to find a place for him.
A little bigger than BB.
Bigger than bigger, yeah. A little taller, yeah.
How deep are you here? How many guys do you think will play in a game?
If I'm lucky, I can play 12. If I'm lucky, you know what I mean. And normally we play about anywhere between 10 to 11, but we could get to 12.
Ty Hamilton
We
says
play
14.
That's that.
Ty Hamilton says 14.
Yeah, Ty Hamilton's done a great job for us. He's come a long ways, man. I'm just telling you. He's just like his brother. He's taken on. I'm really pleased where he's at. So yeah, so we got a chance. And it depends how the game play and what we're playing, what packs we're playing, all that stuff plays a role in what we're doing. Yeah.
With the depth that you've got, could you really use someone who can just kind of be a game wrecker from time to time and make an extra play here or there to change things?
In every group, you got to have an alpha dog, right? In every group, so we've got to have that one guy who can be able to do that. So I think it's important. I think we have that guy.
How do you develop that? Find that? Is that just someone who shows up when they're out there? Or
well, a
that
little
work?
bit of it. You got to have a little bit of dog in you when you get here, right? You got to have a little attitude when you get here. You want to be relentless in what you do, and that guy is the guy that kind of leads the pack. You know what I mean? And I think that's what we have a couple of guys who can do that. That's what's been really fun. The energy and the spirit in practice has been off the charts. Better than I've ever been since I've been here. These guys really enjoy it, so they love practice and they love playing, and I think that's good.
Who do you think that alpha dog is? I mean, could you name him?
No, I can't name him yet.
Larry, last
Yeah,
year,
man, come on, you can't name an alpha dog. That's something you got to see and watch.
Larry, last year, Coach Day talked a lot about how at the beginning of the year, it felt like they were making up for lost time, with loss of spring ball, COVID, just trying to develop those young guys. In your specific group, how long do you feel like it took for you to make up whatever ground you guys have lost because of COVID and losing spring ball 2 years ago and all that stuff?
I tell you, this off season, I spent more time trying to catch up. Because we went back and reevaluated. I told someone earlier that, and I try to hit the reset button every season. Go back and look at the whole videotape. Go back and study what we did technique-wise. How can we get better? And just find those things I know we can improve on. And that was their approach. When we looked at the videotape, understanding like we got to spend more time on our first two steps getting on. We got to spend more time in hands and really controlling our hands better, and those kind of things. And that's the things we have to work on because we miss all those things in the program season. So now now back to where we need to be. And I think that's so important to advance those guys. That way, when you know you have a deficiency. So that's what we're doing.
Who took that biggest step forward most quickly?
There was a lot of guys too. I think a lot of guys bought into it. When you get the whole unit to buy into it and really believe it, that's when you really sell it. And I think the whole unit say, hey, we have to do this. We have to do this in practice. You know what I mean? And they're really hard on themselves that they're not using that toolbox because that's important to them. But I'm really pleased where they're at right now.
There's Tehran. Is there something different about him this preseason? I mean, what do you sense about him? Obviously, the Rose Bowl, it seemed like the light really came on.
It did.
Maybe he was finally healthy, total. I mean, just what's your sense of him?
A little bit of both. He's finally healthy. Really had a great end of the season for us. Had a really great off season. His weight is really where he wanted to be. He's right at 300 pounds. He's lost some body fat. He's got more muscular, much stronger, and he's in great shape. And I think that's all because he's healthy, and he's had a great camp for us.
And if y'all put more emphasis, I mean, I know you always do, but more emphasis on just A-gap domination, I mean, how is that played, I guess, in spring in this preseason camp about having guys just getting after it in there?
No doubt. We call it block destruction. You got to attack the line of scrimmage, create separation, and then escape, get off blocks. That's how you control the gaps, and that's what we're working on every single day. Make sure that we can control the line of scrimmage, get off blocks, and then rally.
But do you feel better about that in this camp than you did a year ago? I mean, just what's your
I feel
sense
better
of it?
because we've had more time to prepare.
Yeah.
I really do. Yeah, I feel pretty good about it.
Larry,
But you're a long ways away. We're still, 10, 20, 15 days away from the game.
Sorry, the idea of this, the Leo Jack concept, does that fall under your purview, like training that? And how is that going right now?
It's going well. We have about 3 guys training for that position right now. That's out of my room right now. We train those guys to get them ready because it's really a hybrid defensive end kind of guy. And so we're training some guys to get ready for that right now.
I know you guys have used a stand-up end before, chased it up, but this is different, obviously moving other places on the line. So how did you sort of embrace that? Do you like kind of having that new tool, or how did that? Because I know you've been more traditional four-man.
I liked it too. I like what we're doing right now defense. I think Coach Noah's got a great system, and I like how he's allowed the guys who has the ability to play, use their ability. I think that's cool. I think that's what defense is all about. And he's really big in rushing coverage. You know what I mean? Rushing coverage together. That's all he talks about. You know what I mean? That's really cool. That guys understand. If we rush, take cover, we're all going to be successful. I think that's really huge. I think our guys love it. They love the system. They love what it brings to the table. So they're having fun with it.
Who are those
Coached
guys?
alongside.
Well, we train Javante Baptiste right now, and Jack Sar's a guy, and EA is another guy that's training for that position. So we'll just see how it goes.
Overall, are you asking your defensive line to do different things based on what this new defense is than you have in the past?
There's some different things we're doing, yes. There's a lot different.
Would you like to get into those differences?
No, I do not.
Larry, Jim's defense is based so much on deception and creating confusion. Hitting that so that your guys can get that last half step.
That's right.
What have you seen in terms of how successful you've been in camp? You got to see that potential.
No doubt about it. You get the quarterback to hold the ball just a half second. He thinks it's there, it's not there. That when it close, man, just give us another second to get to the quarterback. And there's been so many examples of that in camp. I think, and that's what sells it right now. Our kids understand it, and it's not just us; it's back end. We're all in this together. If we can do that, then the chance of being successful is pretty good. But that's got to be a key part of the season. It's got to be rushing coverage. And I say Jim sell it better than anybody I've been around. That's so important.
You've been around a lot of people. What is it like to work with Jim? What's the one thing that maybe has stood out to you?
Really bright guy. Understand defense, understand what he wants to do, how he wants to attack. I think that makes a difference. It's a really good system. He's been in it for a while, and it's been very adaptable to what we do with our personnel group. But it's really exciting to see how it takes off on September 30th.
You've been around a lot of different defenses here. Obviously, last year there was questions about nastiness, aggressiveness. What have you seen this fall that's giving you, excitement?
It's all player driven. I think our players understand that. They know what toughness is all about. They know that. You know what I mean? And they know what happened in the last game. The team at Mark game. And I think that now, I think everybody in the whole entire building is alert. And I think our defensive scheme is just going to add to that. But it's just not defense; it's offense. It's everybody. Getting ready to make this push to what we got to do. Toughness is part of what we do. It's got to be. That's what we built from. So.
What is the dynamic like when you've got all these veteran guys who I'm sure are looking to have breakout years, kind of career years, and then these sophomores are not sophomores anymore. You know, and they're not just getting their feet wet. They're a lot of times sophomores, like you say, it's kind of where you set up for the rest. What is that dynamic like with those guys?
I think it's a great time. I say all the time, like, you look at the Wolves. When the Wolves travel alone, he's got a chance to not be successful. When they travel in packs, that's when they get to be successful. Right? I hate to use that analogy, but that's what it is. So I'm teaching let's travel in a pack, because when you travel in a pack, everybody gets credit, right? And that's what we sell them. There are going to be some guys going to step up, maybe some young players step up. But at the end of the day, it has to be the unit that steps up. We may have a guy that may do this great thing, but without those other three guys, it doesn't happen. And so I'm really big in being careful that that guy can do this, he can do this, but I'm better if the whole pack can do it. And that's what we sell in our room. And then you got an easy room to deal with. You got guys you can rotate, you can put in the game because they all understand their role. That's the biggest key to me. It's chemistry to do that.
Larry, with all the turnover on the defensive staff, did you ever consider, should I retire, or did you always know you wanted to come back for another year?
People ask that question all the time. I have, my retirement plan is way away from me. I enjoy coaching. And the day that I stop enjoying coaching and have a passion for what I do, then I'll do that. But I don't get up in the morning and say, well, this is it. I don't do that. That's not the way I function. I get up every morning dying to get into this building and coach those guys. When I can't do that anymore, it'll tell me. And right now, I'm not telling myself anything. I got to get going. It's time to go play a game.
Are you able to draw from 2019 and being a part of a new defensive staff then and apply things from that to this year?
Oh, no doubt. Yeah, you're always trying to be better. It's different. It's different terminology. Things you learn different. That's all new. It's new language, but just kind of football's football. Teaching is teaching. It's when it comes down to it, and that's what you got to teach a different way, or you do a different way. But besides that, it's football. It's all ball, as they say.
So I was just going to ask kind of along those same lines. You have a well-earned reputation from a recruiting standpoint of coming in and closing big guys. When you bring a whole new staff in, what's sort of the process of, do you have any mentorship or influence on those guys? I know they're supposed to come in with obviously their own skills in that regard, but how have you guys sort of worked together to bring back the defensive recruiting that you guys want?
Yeah, it really is about sharing, right? Sharing an idea, how you do it, how you present. I think that's most important. Those guys came with great ideas now. They're great recruiters. Just about how we do it. What's the Buckeye sell? What are we selling as a defensive staff, and what's important? And I can't tell you how great these guys are, and just putting their little niche on top of it. And that's what it is. It's just a collaboration of all of us trying to get the right fit, the right player, and then recruiting as hard as we can. And selling something great, which is easy. How you stay.
Larry, how many starters do you have?
Starters? I don't know. Depends when you play the game.
But do you feel like you have way more than 4?
Yes, I do.
What's that feel like then when you have all these options?
Well, I think it gives you a chance to do some different things. It does, And I think the biggest thing is each one will have a different thing. The thing I like about it that they all have different things they can do. My guy may be better at this, guy may be better at that. And so my job as a coach is trying to put those guys in a position to be successful at what they do best. And that's the key. And that's what we're trying to figure out. Who can do this well? Who can do this well? And they can be put you in the position that they're doing. So that's what's all about.
Thank you, Coach.
Yep.
Thanks.
Appreciate it.
Yep.